Hello friends, it's Melanie on the 20th of August 2024. How's it going on this mellow Pisces waning moon day? Maybe in your world as well, mellow and more tranquilo, more relaxed, or maybe a bit also low key. Here, definitely on the west coast, also weather-wise, since it's cloudy and some rain here and there. And tomorrow, the moon will be connecting with Neptune. Today, she connected with Saturn. And tomorrow with Neptune, more afternoon before entering Aries, and that will be a whole different energy again. But it's time to chill and integrate the intense full moon energy, supermoon energy. Let's just recap that and then look at the astro weather of the week, which is mostly about the Sphinx Point, the entry of the sun into Virgo. But yes, let's recap a bit here about the late Aquarius, late Leo, supermoon in square with Uranus in Taurus, and it also had Jupiter Saturn square with it. What a package of energies. Yes, it also literally played out in the weather with thunder and lightning, pretty intense here on the west coast. I heard the same from my brother in Germany. Yeah, so sometimes these cosmic energies, they literally manifest with their archetypal energies as well. Thunder and lightning, very apropos Uranus, especially the lightning, which rules electricity. So what's up with that full moon, with that supermoon, which is coming out of and integrating at this point? Yes, the supermoon, here she is. So it was exact on the 19th of August at 11:28 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So the full moon night was the 18th to the 19th, Sunday to Monday. But of course, the energy had built up, and it's still, as I said, now rolling out. Let's take a look at this chart again. So the Sun and Mercury actually together in end of Leo, and the Moon end of Aquarius. That itself is the full moon. But as you see, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of red squares and oppositions, lots of tension, lots of conflict, lots of dynamics. The full moon, let's start with that, in square, in T-square, right? So 90-degree angle with Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, and of Taurus. Even just that is kind of a bomb, an intense vibe there. And what's with that? The Aquarius Leo dynamic has a lot to do has to do with society, the collective, the system, and the self. So system, society, Aquarius, and self Leo. So there's a dynamic, there's a tension, there's a balance that needs to be held and integrated so that neither one takes over, which could also mean in society we don't need people who dominate, right? That Leo narcissistic, low vibe energy, or people who control in that regard with their will. And on the Aquarius side, we don't want society and systems to overrun the individual and our individual self-expression. So we see a lot of this tension going on in society, and especially in the states, which have now also, they have their Pluto return coming up once more, but they also had this full moon right on the moon to the degree of the United States of their independence chart of 1776, with the moon at the same degree at 27, I believe 2709 Aquarius, and this full moon had been at 2715 Aquarius. So very much a full moon for the states. something coming to fruition, to be seen in the full light. And that, of course, has to do with, for the states, we, the people. What's with the people? What do the people want? And the people versus the ruler in traditional terms, right? Aquarius, Leo. So who can be a a ruler, a new president that is really representing the people? So that dynamic is really up, also because late Leo in transition to Virgo, where the sun goes this week, has to do with the with the ruler in traditional terms, again with the king really serving the people, being the first servant of the people. That would be a beautiful expression, and not self-serving. That would be the shadow of that. Yeah, so full moons always are highlighted emotional energy, and of course, we've seen that. Maybe also you've seen that in your social circle, in your relationship with your friends, with society. Again, the Aquarius piece with you and the system, you and groups, and especially if you have late Aquarius energy, especially the moon, this would have been super relevant for you. Late Aquarius has also a Gemini undertone with my decanate system. So the last 10 degrees of the air sign of the air element have an undertone of the mutable air element, which is Gemini. So it has a lot to do with communication, with diversity, with different options, with communicating, with alchemizing duality, with dealing with so much duality nowadays and division, even, right? That duality division theme comes out also through Mars and Jupiter in Gemini, which has been also exact just a few days before the full moon. So let's look at that here quickly. Mars, Jupiter here, right? So Mars had already passed Jupiter at the time of the full moon, but the energy, of course, is still super relevant, comes up only once every 2 years. And not only that, also the day of the full moon was the day of the exact alignment of Jupiter in Gemini in square with Saturn retro in Pisces. And Mars reinforced that, of course. Plus, Venus was exactly opposite in Virgo, opposite of Saturn. So another square, another T-square leading to Gemini. Two T-squares on top of each other for that full moon. Wow. So what about, for starters, the fundamental part, this Jupiter-Saturn square? The Jupiter-Saturn square is the first tension, first crisis alignment of the two planets, Jupiter and Saturn, since they came together in conjunction at Winter Solstice 2020. So what was that all about? They come together, Jupiter and Saturn come together for 20 years, and they start together in their fusion, in their connection, a new socio-political, economic, and cultural cycle. The last one started 20 years prior in May 2000 in Taurus. So that one was very Taurian. Those 20 years were influenced very much by that initiation there in Taurus. And Taurus has a lot to do with value, with economy, also with real estate, but also with territory. And when Uranus came into the picture, into Taurus, in 2018, 2019, there was a lot of disruption also, but also a lot of release, lots of liberation. A lot came out, in other words, especially I'm thinking in this case of colonial territorial themes came up, but also the themes around physical, bodily freedom, right? Uranus in Taurus, and embodying freedom in general, embodying our values. At the same time, there's been lots of disruption, right? Also, news around the state of the planet, nature, so much disruption, so much interference, right, with Uranus has happened, and we can't just let things be ripped apart, right? That would be a shadow expression of Uranus. But Uranus is also a wake-up call and an awakener energy. It wakes us up to what's currently going on with nature, with anything organic, natural, old values, so to say. Conservative energies, preserving energies is very Taurus, right? And Uranus shifts things a lot. Plus, Uranus was, back to the current full moon chart, Uranus was the apex of the T-square to the full moon, right? So you have, what do I mean by that? Uranus here, this tip basically of that 90-degree angle to both sun and moon, that's called the T-square, and Uranus being the apex of that, the top of that, right? So a lot of outlet of that electrical energy, which we literally saw with flashes of lightning across the province here and other places on planet Earth. Symbolically speaking, the charge of energy needed release, right? So a lot of with Uranus, it's a lot of itchy energy that doesn't want to be contained in a Taurus way, doesn't want to get stuck, need a release point, and that can be also in relationships, right? So in relationships, they often are with full moon energy very charged, and a lot comes up, and the Uranus part could have brought things to the light, but could have also brought you know, points of disruption, points of release, points of people breaking up with each other or needing really a shift, a paradigm shift, need a break from each other to regroup literally with Aquarius, right? And find freedom, right? So Uranus will also soon go retrograde on September 1st until January 31st. It does that once a year. These years typically August, end of August, early September. And so for that matter, Uranus has been slowing down and stationary, which makes it also extra potent. Now back to the Jupiter-Saturn square that we've also had on that same day, and that is rolling out, of course, for longer, right? So that alignment of the two, as I said, Jupiter and Saturn were together at Winter Solstice 2020, and now is the first crisis, which just comes up for the first time here in August. There will be a second one with Jupiter in Gemini, Saturn in Pisces at Christmas Eve on the 24th of December, and a third one when both will have moved into new signs already. Jupiter will be in early Cancer, and Saturn will be in early Aries, just even briefly. Both will go back. Jupiter will remain in Cancer, but that will be on June 15th next year. So this square alignment of the two is active 2024-2025. You could easily say at least mid-2024 to mid-2025, if not longer, right? That's already like conservatively speaking. Now, what's with that square alignment? As I said, it's a crisis. It's a crisis in leadership with Saturn and with inspiration with Jupiter. Meaning also, right? What meaning, value, orientation, all of that is Jupiter. Saturn says, hey, security, stability, right? And also leadership. So we've seen with Saturn in Pisces, speaking of leadership, since 2023, quite a disintegration of leadership. Since March 2023, a lot of the old Pisces age dynamic is phasing out. and that will be extra sanctioned when Saturn and Neptune come together, end of Pisces, early Aries. So both will leave Pisces and go into early Aries next year for the first time, 2025, and then 2026 in January again. So this is now a phase where old Pisces dynamics really can't go on anymore. What do I mean by that? That A has a lot to do with so much human suffering, not just human, but suffering of all sentient beings, and nature, so much loss also, right? Pisces, so much loss, so much chaos, so much confusion, so much overwhelm as well. And now, yeah, it shows up with leadership as well. It shows up with a lack of stability. Saturn shows where the lack is, where we really need to make sure we get, we have a new approach and we're not getting completely bogged down by that, right? And with where are opportunities, right? This is where the challenges are with Saturn. The opportunities come up more on the Jupiter side typically. Now Jupiter is in Gemini since end of since end of May this year until next year, early June, and currently also Mars in Gemini until early September gives it an extra boost. So Gemini has a lot to do with learning, with of course now together with Pluto freshly in Aquarius, also AI learning, a lot of yeah electronic and yeah new media, and the whole world of technology, the whole world of new systems, let's call it that way, with Aquarius. So systems are deeply changing with Pluto, and learning has a lot to do with that. Communication has a lot to do with that. It's a different world, and Jupiter shows us how big this actually is, how much more growth there is if you are into it. This is a huge opportunity and potential. And if you're rather resistant, it can be a challenge, right? Which is again the Saturn piece. And so, what's also happening with Jupiter in Gemini? So much division, so much divisive debates are going on at this point. With Mars in Gemini, Mars is also coming up to the Mars return of the US, right? So as I said, the full moon was exact on the US full moon, on the US moon. And Mars will also, end of this week, I believe, be exactly on the point of the US Mars, end of Gemini. So there is no wonder there's so much going on, so much controversy, debates are going on. And the challenge here with Saturn in Pisces is, of course, unity and connection. So people are so divided, right? How can we cultivate? How can we cultivate that union and also send good vibes, raise the vibration, send good vibrations into the energy field, and from the Venus in Virgo side, which is also part of that T-square, Venus in Virgo can help us be cultivating alignment with our true self, with our divine self, and doing spiritual practice that really gets us there. And a practice doing the work that we love, the work of love, the work of love and service, all of that is Venus in Virgo. And that can really help and can also help us communicate from a different place and not going more into division, and also seeing what really works, what's practical, what's in alignment for ourselves, and as we love ourselves, what would we do, and also the work of love, right? That is Venus in Virgo. Then yes, those are the main features, and that's quite a lot, right, of this full moon that we just had, of the supermoon. It's the first of 4 supermoons. It's the second last of 4 full moons, right? So we had the first summer full moon was right on summer solstice on the 21st of June. The second one on the 21st of July. So that was, so to say, a blue, because the second end of Capricorn Cancer full moon. We had one at the very beginning and one very end. And then we have this one now, 19th of August, end of Leo, end of Aquarius. Then we'll have another summer full moon, but unusual to have 4 instead of 3 months, but 4 full moons. So the last one will be on the 17th of September, and that will be also partial lunar eclipse. And it will be the harvest moon, which is always the full moon closest to fall equinox. So that one, first of a pair of eclipses, and this one, the first of 4 supermoons. So the second supermoon again will be that eclipse on the 17th of September. The third will be the October one, which is a semi-eclipse, almost eclipse, on the 17th of October. First 17th of September, right? Second 17th of October, and the third on the 15th of November. So as you see, also the supermoons wrap right around the hot phase pre and shortly after US elections. So again, with the supermoons, the energy can be really heightened, very emotional, also very controversial and all this, because we still have the Gemini energy as well. And yeah, this one just set the tone. Now, this is an integration week of that supermoon. And we see that already, I would say, since yesterday, when the moon says yesterday evening entered Pisces, today in Pisces, and tomorrow until the afternoon. So that can be a very relaxing energy to just release what has been built up with a full moon. Tomorrow afternoon at 4:02 p.m. the moon enters Aries, and that's a whole different ball game again. Aries energy is always invigorating, kind of more like a feisty energy, where it's like, okay, time to be out again, time to be alive and do something here. Pisces can be rather passive or also absorbent, right? Or also a lot about release and tuning in and being so connected, which can be beautiful to actually feel the subtleties of life, the energetics, and that's still beautiful today and tomorrow. And then when the moon goes into Aries, there's an emergence, there's a freshness, there's a new aliveness coming in. The moon will be in Aries all day Thursday the 22nd, and on Friday at 5 p.m. she will enter Taurus, where the moon is exalted. The moon is super happy in Taurus and will be in Taurus all day Saturday and Sunday until the evening, 5:04 p.m. So the Taurus energy, together with the Virgo moon in this case, Virgo sun, so I get to that in a second, is very grounding, of course, right? And is all about being on the earth, being off the earth, being in nature, and enjoying life, slowing down, right? All of that, being fully in your senses, and also when the moon will be in alignment with Uranus, right? Because Uranus is in Taurus, which will be on Sunday afternoon, 3:15 p.m. It can be also a shift, right? So we can also, through our exposure to nature and being more in our embodiment, we can also feel freedom and more liberation. Or we might feel like the stagnant energy, stuck energy, boring energy is being shaken off, right? So doing something to break habits that keep you stuck just because of your attachment, that can be also a good one. And that can have to do with food, with all sorts of habits, with sedentary energy, right? It's also Taurus sitting, right? And yeah, so with Uranus, shake that off and be out where you really feel life more fully in all the enjoyment that is available. Then the moon goes into Gemini on Sunday evening, 8:04 p.m. and will be in Gemini all day Monday the 26th and all day Tuesday the 27th, so for the end of this astro week. So the Gemini moon makes things lighter again and more, conversational, interested, exploring, learning, branching out, being more in motion, right? So in motion, being mentally more agile, and in motion also because the sun will, say it again, sun will be in Virgo then. So that's much more mutable energy. Things are getting shaken up, but it can be also very busy energy, especially since we're coming to the end of the summer holidays, at least here in North America, and come towards the Labor Day weekend, weekend later, which will also bring the Virgo new moon on September 2nd. Perfect day, Monday, Labor Day, perfect day for shifting gears out of the height of the summer and into back to work, back to school, back to harvest time, right? In so many levels, traditionally Virgo is the harvest maiden, and Virgo season starts this week. And this is the second major feature of this week. The first still, as I said, rolling out of the supermoon. The second one now, the shifting gears of the sun entering Virgo. On the 22nd this year, it came here on 22nd or 23rd. This year it's the 22nd because we're in a leap year at 7:55 a.m. Pacific is the shift. And the 2 days around that, so already tomorrow the 21st, the 22nd and the 23rd, I would say are the core of the Sphinx week, right? Of the Sphinx days. And the Sphinx point is the Leo Virgo transition or cusp. That is the energy of self-awareness, right? The Leo is cultivating a strong self. Virgo is about awareness of the self, is about also being clear what works for you even, right? What is in alignment for you, how you can be in alignment with your true self, and how you can put all your strength, all your love, all your heart from Leo, right, into service. So all of that comes up with the Sphinx point, and it can also in a lower vibration bring up themes like, oh, me and my problems, me and my issues, right? It's so complicated. My life is complicated. That's also Leo Virgo. All this relationship is complicated. So Virgo would say, Virgo would say, what can we do about this, right? It also is about having tools. And just drink a sip of water, Pisces, right? Having tools and having techniques and having something that works and helps, right? So either getting help, receiving help, or also offering something, using your tools on yourself, right? And helping other people. That comes up very strongly. And since the Leo Virgo theme is also a bit akin to SAG, which is the undertone of Leo now, of end of Leo has a SAG undertone. Early Virgo has a Capricorn undertone. So there's also this SAG Capricorn thing going on in the background. And that has a lot to do with integrity. Being in integrity is important for the Virgo side, and saying, hey, this is where my heart is, and this is where, from experience, what works best for me. Let's really focus on that, right? So all of that can come up with a Sphinx Point and more. And I guess that's it for today. So I'm signing off and wish you a beautiful Sphinx week. See you again on this channel early next week. Bye.